I'm a chiropractor. I've been in practice 30 years in Anacortes, Washington. We're in a little town about 80 miles north of Seattle. And I met Brandon about 3 years ago through Freedom Fast Track. And at that time, my practice was doing okay. It was doing well, but I was pretty comfortable with it. I knew there was probably more that I could do, but really didn't know how to take the next step with the practice.
I'm a physical therapist from Lincoln, Nebraska. My name is Jeremiah Jorgensen, and my wife and I own a physical therapy clinic. We've been in practice for 8 years, been a PT for 12 years, and now have 2 locations thanks to coaching that we've done with Brandon.
My name is Jason West. I am a chiropractic physician in Pocatello, Idaho. I have a unique background just in the fact that my great-grandfather started our office 100 years ago this summer. And so I'm kind of proud of that fact, and that comes with both pluses and minuses, and mostly pluses, but I did survive a family business transition, and yes, I think I need a medal for that.
My name is Dr. Devin Coughlin, and I'm a chiropractor in New Jersey, just outside Philadelphia. I have a wife and 2 kids.
So when I came into practice, we have this whole thing with traditions, and my dad was a huge name in chiropractic. He was a past American Chiropractic Association president and taught all over the United States. Everybody knew him, and it was really, really difficult for me to come into practice with him because I would go out and do these marketing things and people didn't want to see me. And so I have people coming on all the time and saying, "Hey, Dr. West, you had it so easy, you went in to practice with your dad." And I'm like, my dad was really trying to make me be successful, but it was really tough those first couple years to get going because everybody wanted to see the legend and not the young Dr. West. And then how my mom and dad run their practice, and I think a lot of it was a generational thing, was they were, it's all about the patient, it's all about the patient experience, and literally the employees, and I'm not hacking on my parents, but their mindset was that the employees should be just damn glad to have a job. And there wasn't a focus on a message, there wasn't a focus on any marketing, there wasn't a focus on any clinic or corporate culture, etc. And so as I worked with my dad for 10 years, then I bought the practice from him, and then I said, okay, I'd like to make some changes on how we're doing things, and then we started really focusing on the patient experience.
Business life for Carrie and I prior to working with Brandon or any of the coaching experience we've had was a lot of chaos. A lot of hours where essentially for us, I felt, knowing now, essentially we created a job for ourselves and wasn't the practice that we had hoped it would be, with providing enough value to clients in our community. That being said, what that means for me is offering a different type of service for physical therapy, where we're providing one-on-one care. And when we first started, we accepted anybody through the door that was just open for physical therapy. Didn't have a lot of systems in place. Didn't really know what we wanted other than we just wanted to be busy. So the amount of hours, time that we spent in the practice was insane, easily 60, 70 hours a week. So family life suffered as a result as well. So just an extreme amount of disorganization. And since then, it's kind of nice to be able to bring new staff on board and they see the organization. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, before we started talking and coaching, my practice was very unorganized, to say the least. It was, I didn't know how to manage a team, and I was kind of just like going with drive and passion. And it was, like, again, disorganized, very up and down, unpredictable. I was having a lot of staff issues and just challenges overall.
Well, my biggest challenge was really, I'd say, staff and how to manage staff, how to get staff motivated to do what I thought needed to be done in the practice. One thought that I had was that I just wasn't a good manager. I didn't really understand management. I didn't really want to be a manager. And I really think that held me back.
I had all the typical limiting beliefs coming in, like, I don't have the money to do certain things, fears, different things like that. And I remember our first phone call, we weren't even coaching together officially at that point, but you had mentioned increasing my prices and also buying an office space. And I did both of those things that summer, like within a few months. And it really opened up my mindset. Okay, there's no reason I can't do this. And I guess it was just kind of broke through those limiting beliefs right away.
My limiting beliefs were that I would not be able to own my own practice and ever be at a point where I could step away and not have to be the one behind the scenes providing all the expert care 6 days a week, which is the way I was doing it before. I thought if I wasn't the one there doing it, nobody else was going to do it right. And essentially I had to micromanage everything.
Well, one of the biggest limiting beliefs was that I had to do everything. Literally it was to the point where I got to answer the phone, then I've got to put the patient in the computer system, and then I've got to deliver the services, and then I've got to check them out, and then I've got to, reschedule them. And I was taking this enormous responsibility on me, trying to micromanage everything. And then one of your comments that we made in one of the discussions was, doctors have this real bad mindset that they think they have to do everything to be successful. And since then, I've got a really good relationship with a part-time chiropractor that works with us 1 day a week. We have a medical director, I have a full-time nurse practitioner. I'm just getting ready to bring on another chiropractor. And all because of that belief system of, okay, I don't have to provide all of the services. Okay, so the other limiting factors were, taking ownership, the fact that I am a business owner and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think one of the problems that we have in the doctor world is that there's a conflict from being a business owner to being a doctor, because a lot of times people think there's a big bad business guy, that's going to gouge people and take all their money and their dreams and their hopes and their bank accounts and everything else. And then there's the wonderful healer side here. And that's been something really good working with you guys, working with Freedom Fast Track, is that there is a happy middle ground that and I think in today's doctor world landscape, you have to be just as good a businessman as you are a doctor in order to reach your happy factor or your happy place. If you're deficient in one area, it's going to rub off in the other area, and it creates an enormous amount of personal and internal conflict.
The experience since working with you, Brandon, has been, it brought us from the ground up as far as what we needed in our business. The biggest change for us was for a lot of the understanding. We didn't know what our mission, vision, and values were, to be clear with that. And since then, that changes everything from the employees that we hire, whether that's front office staff, the PTs that we hire, and how I even go through the actual interview process now to know who I actually want for us to work with. So it has changed everything from ground up as far as what we do within our clinic. And as we continue to work with you, hopefully, marketing and all the other aspects of what we do will help us so we can actually change more than just being a PT clinic, because of the changes with insurance, and be even more towards a cash pay option where patients will actually be wanting to come in, pay cash because they actually see the services we offer are different. The no-show and cancellation rates have improved, mainly from the organization that we have as business owners in educating what do our front office staff need to be doing every day, versus just answering the phone and getting somebody scheduled. They have direction every single day that they could come to work and show somebody else, this is what I do every day, versus, I just sit here and answer the phone. Physical therapists, the changes they have seen is their schedules are always full with patients, and that for us was something we were always concerned about, because we didn't know when we bring a new staff member on, how are we going to keep them busy, because we didn't want to be a clinic that was growing and then have to turn around and let people go.
Oh boy, there was a lot that I experienced. As far as what I realized was that my relationship with my staff was really crucial, and I began to experience a real learning curve on that. At first, it was very uncomfortable for me to even confront my staff about things that they weren't doing that I knew they should be doing. And I found that as I did that more and more, it got easier and easier and easier. Had an experience about my first year of coaching with you that we had another practitioner in our practice who it became very clear that that person was being very disruptive to the practice. When I actually confronted her about it, she decided to leave. And it was probably the best thing that ever happened to us. I mean, our practice just took off after that, and that really showed me the value of confronting things that needed to be confronted in a timely manner. And now I'm very comfortable with that aspect of practice.
The biggest outcomes I would say with coaching is accountability. Number one, I have a ton of accountability with everything. The tools that we have for the seminars, the podcasts, different things that I've gotten, I can constantly be doing something. And then the other big outcome is just looking at statistics. I mean, our collections have been way up. Our growth has been steady as far as adding team members. We brought in another doctor, which was another one of those things where I wasn't sure if we were ready to do that or if we should do it. You encouraged me to do that. So really just consistently growing and moving in the direction that we want to go. Now there's a very structured game plan. We know where our weaknesses are, we know where our strengths are. I feel very, very clear on managing the team, leading, all those different things that we've kind of worked on. I'd say the biggest challenge is the marketing, which we're here for, working on, which is great. And I would say the last thing I feel is very clear is that even at a pretty young age, I have clarity as far as growth and having very little limiting beliefs and really kind of going after the big goals that we originally had.
Biggest takeaway that I've been working with you is you've been saying, hey, if you're going to have the perfect patient experience, you've really got to have a perfect employee experience first. And so 2 years ago, I made the real commitment of I'm going to have the perfect place to work, so then I can deliver the perfect patient experience. And all of my marketing, and that's one of the things I wanted to say in the seminar, and I think this was one of the things that you told me, is the stuff that we were spending on external marketing, yellow pages and some of the little information advertising pieces that we would do, I put that all into our team experience. And we've really developed a fantastic team experience, and I don't have a perfect office. I mean, that's one of my quests to have, but focusing on what we're doing on the clinic culture and knowing who our market is and what message we're trying to get to them and basically what we will put up with from the universe. And so we define what we want from the universe. A lot of times the universe gives it back to you. I've learned most of that from you. And now what happened, and so we've gone up basically nearly 50% in the last 3 years. We had a huge jump the first year working for you. We had a really big jump last year. And the cool thing about it was that's working 2 less days a week. And so we were up 50% and working Monday through Thursday, where before I was working Monday through Saturday. And so the systems are really important. The objective things, interacting with employees, has been really, really key of defining, okay, here's your responsibilities, and then here's your objectives, and here's a reward system for accomplishing those objectives, and I want you to take ownership of that, and then getting out of my own way. And so being an entrepreneur, I didn't want to be having these technician Caesars where I think I have to do everything in the practice. And so having the confidence and the administrative ability to delegate tasks, and I still struggle with it. I mean, I'm not perfect at it, but compared to where I was 2 years ago, I mean, it's a significant difference. There's a significant business maturity aspect that's taken in the practice, and an enormous control aspect where I'm starting to get predictable results. I was really excited because I left the practice last week to go off to a seminar on Thursday, and it ran perfect without me. And part of me was like, oh, I can't believe it ran without me. And the other half of me was like, oh my gosh, it was awesome, it ran without me.
I was always told that I needed a coach, and everyone said, you need to have some kind of coach. And I felt like a lot of the practice management systems were trying to change the way I was doing things. And one thing I appreciate about Business Fast Track with you is that it's just simply teaching us principles that work regardless of your business. And so there's a lot of just, I think, bad information that are trying to be unique to certain businesses. And with the coaching I've received from Brandon, it's just been principles that I feel like I could start any business and have the same principles put into it.
The final thoughts I would have with coaching are that I can say definitively, if we would not have been at a place where we were open to have coaching at the time that we met you, we were at a point, family, and even business-wise, and even probably relationship-wise with Carrie and I, that we were burnt out on all aspects of that. So without the coaching, we probably would have been at a point where it was easy just to fold in and, cash in and say, we're done, this isn't right for us. And since then, completely different outlook. Happy to go to work every single day and treat clients and actually deal with the problems of having your own clinic. So for me, coaching has greatly opened up the idea that whatever aspect or direction we want to take our business, it's virtually up to us. Versus before, I always kind of saw it as, you just go talk to some person, they'll help you decide what you need to do, and you just crunch away at it, and eventually it'll get there in the end. And your coaching style has been great because it's what we want, not that somebody else is trying to drag us along and say, here's the trail you have to follow.
No, I'd just say that coaching is invaluable. One of the things I've learned over the last couple of years of working with you and working with Freedom Fast Track has been that investment in yourself with coaching is going to pay off the biggest dividend of anything that you could do in your practice or your business.
It's been an interesting journey. I've had a coach for pretty much since I started. So I started practice in 2000, and I feel all of the practice management consultants that I've had have generated value, and it's been a good experience for me to be affiliated with them. And what was interesting is the first practice management consultants I was working with, it was all about technique. It was all about your secret sauce and your scripts for your employees, and you do your new patients on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you do your reevaluations on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and this is exactly what you do. And what I've really enjoyed working with you is you have told me, okay, what do you want, and then let's design it specifically for you. And I like to take pride in myself that when patients come into my office, they don't get a cookbook recipe. It's an individual program for their condition. And I think you do the same thing for me. Jason, what do you want? What are you trying to get to? What does it look like, when it's finished? A lot of times when we go to have our discussion, I'm like, okay, I know he's going to ask me, what my solution is to the problem. And so just having that done is really helpful, because I'm like, okay, I don't want to feel like an idiot when I'm talking to him, so I better brainstorm. And then I've been able to take it, I think, to a really deep level of getting my objectives done and getting to a place where I thought, I always had this dream of what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be. And in my mind, I'm thinking that would be awesome to get there. And then, the little devil on my shoulder saying, yeah, Jason, you can't do that. You can't do that, etc. And Brandon's the other side going, okay, you can totally do this. You just got to be really clear in what you want, and then let's create a framework to put it together. Let's delegate what you need to. Let's find the missing pieces, and what you need, let's go find out, and let's fill in that gap. So it's been a really, really good ride for me. We've been up. In the past year, it's been phenomenal, the steps that we've been able to accomplish.